For the longest time in the world of content, the game was pretty much publish and pray, right? You'd create something you thought was great, push it out into the world, and just cross your fingers. But what if you could flip that script? What if you could actually know what was going to work before you ever hit publish? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. A look ahead to 2026, where content is moving way beyond guesswork.
And that, right there, is the heart of the entire shift. We are leaving behind the old publish and hope strategy that, let's be honest, we've all relied on. The future, the 2026 way, is all about predict and post. It's about being proactive and strategic instead of just reactive. And look, this isn't some small adjustment we're talking about. It's a completely new way of thinking about how we create.
So you might be asking, why is this happening now? Well, it really just boils down to simple economics. In 2026, every single piece of content that misses the mark isn't just a failure, it's an expensive one. It costs time, it costs money, and maybe most importantly, it costs audience trust. In a world that's just getting louder and more crowded, the real power isn't in being the loudest, it's in being the most precise.
And that's where this huge idea comes in: predictive content marketing. So what is it? Put simply, it's about using AI to actually forecast how your content is going to do before it ever sees the light of day. It's kind of like going from throwing darts in the dark to having a laser-guided system that tells you exactly where to aim.
All right, so how does this actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, starting right at the beginning of the whole process. We're talking about predicting your next viral hit, and it means moving away from those old-school brainstorm sessions into a world of purely data-driven decisions.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth does an AI do all of this? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, it just inhales massive amounts of data and trends. Then, based on that analysis, it predicts which topics are most likely to be winners. And finally, it even tells you the best possible format to use. And what makes this so incredibly powerful is just how deep the analysis goes. The AI isn't just scratching the surface here. It's digging into your own history to see what's worked for you before. It's looking at what people are searching for, like right now, and it's even mapping out how your audience behaves. What makes them stop scrolling? What do they save? What do they share? It's the whole shebang. Which brings us to a truth that might be a little tough to swallow for some of us creatives. By 2026, the absolute best content ideas, they're not going to come from a bunch of people sitting around a whiteboard. They're going to be selected by data that pinpoints exactly what your audience is craving. But here's the thing, it's not just about the topic, right? It's also about how you deliver it. The AI can tell you if that great idea is best suited for an Instagram carousel or if it needs to be a quick, punchy video. Maybe it's a longer text post or even a deep dive newsletter. The format stops being a random choice and becomes part of the strategy. And all of this, every single piece, points to a massive shift in what we're aiming for. For so long, the game has been about reach. Just get in front of as many people as possible. But the new mantra for 2026 is simple. Retention is way more important than reach. It's not about how many people see your stuff. It's about how many you can convince to stick around. Okay, so you've used the AI, you've created the perfect piece of content, and you've hit publish. Job done, right? Well, not so fast. In this new world, you have to think of your content as a living, breathing thing that you can actually optimize in real time.
See, if we're going to optimize in real time, we have to stop chasing the wrong numbers. We're moving past those old vanity metrics. The likes, the clicks, the views. The new metrics, the ones that really matter, are all about attention. How long did someone actually watch? Did they save it for later? How far down the article did they actually scroll? That's what shows someone genuinely cares.
And you might be thinking, okay, so what? Why does this even matter? It matters because the platforms themselves have changed the rules of the game. Their algorithms are designed to reward one thing above all else: attention. They're going to push content that keeps people on their platform longer, not stuff that just gets a cheap click.
And just look at how fast this all happens. We're talking about optimization within the first hour. You post your content, and within 30 minutes, the AI is already looking at the early signals. By the 1 hour mark, it could come back to you with suggestions like, hey, try changing this hook, or let's tweak that call to action. It's wild.
So, what does this all mean? It means that post and pray is officially 100% dead. The absolute best content in 2026 won't be something you just publish and forget about. No way. It'll be treated like a live campaign, constantly tweaked and improved for the biggest possible impact.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking.
All this talk of AI and data, it sounds kind of cold, right? A little robotic? And that brings us to what is easily the most important part of this whole playbook, the partnership between you, the human, and the AI. This is where the data finally meets the magic of storytelling. This is where you come in. Think of it like a partnership, a tag team. Let the AI do all the heavy lifting, the number crunching, the analysis, the predictions. Your job is to do what only a human can do. You bring the story, you bring the emotion, and you build that genuine, real connection with your audience. The AI can't do that. And this next quote just sums it up perfectly. It's the whole idea in a nutshell. AI predicts attention. Humans create connection. The AI can point you to where the eyeballs are, but it's on you to create something that captures their hearts. All right, let's wrap this all up. What is the one big idea, the final takeaway from this 2026 playbook that you absolutely need to remember?
Honestly, it all comes down to a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's about going from a place of uncertainty, from saying, well, let's just see how this performs, to a place of real confidence where you can say, we know why this is going to perform. That's the real power here. It's trading luck for strategy. So I want to leave you with a question to really think about for your own work. Right now, how are you creating content? Are you just going with your gut instinct? Are you diving deep into the data? Or maybe you're starting to dip your toes into using AI? Because the future, the real magic, is going to belong to the people who can master the blend of all three. Something to think about.